Don't let it happen again. Oh my goodness. Hi, welcome back to PC Builder. I'm Jason. This is Boost My Build, the series where we take your PC build list, we tear them up, we put them back together and massively increase your performance. And this month we've got two builds that need tons and tons of help. We've got a $500 PC build that can't figure out how to get under $500. And we've got a $1,700 build that's coming from 2020. Can we get these fixed? Remember, if you get value out of the video, please give it a like because it really helps out the channel. And of course, subscribe, click that bell icon. That way you get notified when we release cool content. With that, let's jump into it. Before that, this video is sponsored by VIP SSD Key. Say goodbye to crazy expensive Windows 10 licenses and that terrible Activate Windows 10 watermark. Right now, use the links in the video description, head over to VIP SSD Key, and get a Windows 10 Home or Pro OEM license for a great price. Pick your product license, then use the PC Builder discount code PC25 for an additional 25% off. Go to the activation settings on your PC, put in the code, and boom, you have a fully licensed Windows 10 for a crazy low price, which can be upgraded for free to Windows 11. Use the links in the video description below. All right, we got Gru's. Gru says, I've been gaming on a laptop for half a decade, and now that they're out of school, they want to build a gaming PC. They want one primarily for 1440p gamings. They want to play Payday 3, Red Dead Redemption 2, Dead Space Remake, and Resident Evil 4 Remake. Their budget's $1,700. $1,700, pretty good budget. We could definitely do 1440p high FPS for that. Let's see what you got. No. Don't let it happen again. What am I talking about? I feel like this is the beginning of a Resident Evil game, in fact. You want to play Resident Evil? I feel like we're playing there right now, where the zombies just find a way to break out, basically, and it all kind of goes to heck. You spent $1,715. You're 15 bucks over the budget. That's not bad at this budget level, but this is a terrible build because it's old. It's old. Most of it that I'm complaining about would have been great 3 years ago, but time has progressed. Tech moves fast, and we have way better options for actually cheaper price points out here. One thing I really do like about the build, let's start off with the GPU. I love the GPU, XFX Speedster Merc. You know, this one's $789. It's actually one of the more expensive ones. You can actually get these GPUs almost down to $700, definitely during Prime Day. I'm filming this after Prime Day, after Fantastic Sale. You can definitely get these now for right around $700 to $750. All really, really good, very premium GPUs. But 240 Hz, 1440p, totally amazing GPU. Now let's get into things I hate about the build. The Ryzen 5900X is a CPU that nobody should buy. I mean, look, if they start giving the CPU away, sure. You can get for the same price, $345. You can get actually cheaper, 20 bucks cheaper, and comes with its own good stock cooler, the Ryzen 7700. It does the same multi-threaded performance with 8 cores versus the 12 cores on the 5900X, just because tech moves faster. Those cores on the 7700 are way faster. You're going to get way better gaming performance out of it, top flight gaming performance, whereas this, you're not going to do that much better than a Ryzen 5600 in terms of gaming. I like the cooler, Deep Cool AK620, $50 right now over at Amazon. It feels like theft. I mean, if that's an insane price, and that price has stayed even after Prime Day and everything. If that remains, this becomes honestly one of the hands down best CPU coolers period out there for the price. Here's something else though I absolutely hate. Why did we go with the Asus Prime B550M-A? This is a ho-hum $130 kind of trashy motherboard, honestly, and Asus charges way, this is like to me, this is like an $89 motherboard that they're trying to still charge $130 for. This is what Asus does with these Prime boards. They're always these cut down kind of nasty boards, and they charge way too much for them. Yeah, it's got Wi-Fi in it. That's nice, but you can get way better, even B550 motherboards. Honestly, this is the same price as one of the cheaper current B650 motherboards that we could get for Ryzen 7000. You did a great job on the RAM. You get 32 gigs, 3600 CL16, 2 thumbs up if we were going to stay on this platform, which we're not, spoiler alert. But for 80 bucks, this is a great kit and you did a good job here. Yeah, Crucial P3, 2 terabyte, 82 bucks, a little bit more expensive, especially since the Crucial P3, I believe it's host memory buffer process. It doesn't have DRAM. You can actually get DRAM drives for about this same price. But honestly, 82 bucks, I'm not going to quibble with you here. Pretty good pickup. Case is another kind of error we made here. This only comes with 2 included all black fans. I know everybody loves this case. I've never really been that attracted to it, especially since it doesn't really come with any included fans. You can get the 4000X, which has RGB, and I believe they have now a Corsair Airflow version with the RGB fans as well, but they're like $120. It's very expensive, but that's Corsair for you. You know, there are better cases out there for the money. If you absolutely have to have Corsair, then let's spend a little bit more money and actually get you a fully kitted out case. I like the Cooler Master. It's 850 watt SFX. Wait, it's SFX. Whoa. Okay, a little bit of an error here. We got an SFX that's a small form factor PSU. It will fit in our case. Of course it'll fit, but there's no reason to spend $135 for 850 watts. Good. This is a good unit. If you're building a small form factor like an ITX build, this would be a good one to take a look at putting in. But not in a full-size ATX build where we can get 850 watts for about 20 bucks less, and we can get an A-tier rated unit. Oh, just kind of overspending, not really sure why. Overall, for $1,715, we got a great GPU and a terrible CPU to go with it. We're absolutely bottlenecking our poor GPU. Terrible features on that crummy little motherboard. There's just a lot not going right here, and you deserve so much. You've been on that gaming laptop forever. You're spending $1,700. We can do better for you. I call this the $1,650 amazing 1440p 240 FPS gaming build. You're going to be able to run a 1440p 240 hertz monitor, no problem on this thing. Let's go into the build. I finished at $1,645. Now I'm filming this in the days after Newegg Fantastic, in the days after Amazon Prime. So just in case I'm actually getting a better deal than you would, I've left you $55 of cushion in the budget, just to kind of fill in that gap. But let's go over this. I stuck it out with your Radeon RX 7900 XT. I just got you a different card that's cheaper right now. Remember, all these cards are going to perform roughly the same at the 7900 XT. You could see if you wanted to go with a different setup and go get to the 7900 XTX. They're not that much more expensive right now, but 7900 XT still really performative card, 20 gigs of VRAM. This is going to give you a $50 promo code off the Sapphire Plus one. Great card, Sapphire, absolutely great cards. XFX does too, so you could grab the one you had if you can find it cheaper. But for $719, I kind of think that's going to be the new normal for the 7900 XT, which is absolutely phenomenal news for the GPU market. We really do need it. But let's get into some of the big changes. Big change number one, we're tossing that 5900X. It's old tech. There's just no reason to get it. And for cheaper, we're going to get you the Ryzen 7700 for $320. Even comes with an included stock cooler if we wanted to use it. We're going to switch it out, but we could certainly use it if we wanted to. It's going to give you absolutely insane gaming performance, way better than the 5900X, leagues better than the 5900X, and it's going to give you the same multi-threaded performance, even though it has 4 fewer cores, because it's so much more performance. We're going to stick it out with a Deepcool 8K620. If you want, go ahead and use that included stock cooler, and you can save the $51, but honestly, $51 is an insane price for this cooler. Let's just snap this thing up right now. For the motherboard, it seems like you really wanted an ASUS board, so I went ahead and got you the ASUS TUF Gaming B650 Plus Wi-Fi. It's got upgraded audio on it. It's got Wi-Fi on it. It's an overall very nice motherboard, kind of one of the more premium boards with upgraded audio. Now you can of course get more of the cut rate boards, the budget tier boards. That's what I've been recommending because there's been that big price gap between them and the others. And in terms of upgraded audio, that to me, that's only like a $40 or $50 feature because you can go out and buy an external DAC. But you will be able to get future upgrades. So I don't mind spending a little bit more on the board. Really do like this one. And honestly, right now, there's actually even a $10 code you can put in here for $194. So great pickup. For the RAM, we're going to get the kit that I just keep recommending. 5600 CL32, $86 RGB. I don't know why Team Group is the only one who's putting out affordable RGB kits at good speeds like this. Like, where is everybody else? It's like $30 or $40 more for the same kits, basically. It just kind of blows my mind. These are great kits. I snapped these up in a heartbeat. And you are going to get 32 gigs here, and it's not going to cost you much more than that DDR4 kit you were looking at. We stuck it out with your drive, good pickup. You could certainly switch it out for like the Silicon Power A80, Team Group MP34. Those have DRAM on them. They would probably be slightly higher performance, and they're like 10 bucks cheaper. But if you like the Crucial P3, we're going to stick with it. For the case, like you can go one of two ways. Either you can go up to those more expensive Corsair cases like the 4000X or the 4000 RGB Airflow version for $119, and then you still have to buy another Corsair fan, which is like another $35 on top, or we can just get something like the Entech Dark League, which does not use proprietary connectors, for like $90 instead. This comes with 3 ARGB fans in the front, and it comes with 2 included black fans, one in the rear and one kind of right here at the bottom so you can blow some air into your GPU as well. Overall, super nice for $90. For the PSU, we just went with an affordable B tier rated PSU, the EVGA 800GE. 800 watts, a little bit more than we need. We're probably closer to 700, but for $89, really hard to argue with the price. So overall, for $1,645, you're gonna get an insanely performant, modern gaming PC capable of 240 Hz, 1440p. And it's going to have a future upgrade path on the AM5 socket. You'll be able to drop in an 8700 on here, a 9700X, whatever the heck they come out with next, you'll be able to drop into this motherboard. We got you way more case for the money, including some cool RGB. So I hope you feel like your build is boosted. All right, we've got Cyber. Cyber says pretty succinctly here too, hi Jason, I'm looking to build a PC that's under $500, under $500, ouch, for gaming and video editing, for $500. Yeah, because you have a YouTube channel. Now listen, if you got a YouTube channel, like if you're just doing it for fun, then yes, we'll see if we can get you down as tight as possible. But if we're going to build with all new parts, and again, you didn't tell me whether or not you're open to buying a used GPU, because that is going to be a major consideration around $500. Let's just assume new parts for right now, but that's a really, really tough price point to hit. So let's see what you got. Oh no, let's go through this. I'll start off just saying that this is an impossible price point to hit. When I say impossible, I think it really is impossible given what you said we need to do with the build and the price point. So I don't blame you for coming up with what I see in front of me. And frankly, if we put all this together, except for your PSU is trash. We just have to switch out that unit. But the rest of the build, if you put it together, you'd be able to get playable performance, you'd be able to kind of do some of the things you want to do, but you're $70 over your budget. You're $70 over your budget. That's your problem. I could put together a better build for $570 that would give you way more performance in this, but I know you want to get under $500, and that's one of the big challenges. And I can see that's probably forced us to do some things we otherwise wouldn't have. What am I talking about? Let's start off with a GPU. You're buying a brand new GTX 1660 Super 6GB GPU for $230 basically with that promo code here in 2023. I bought one of these for $220 in 2019. You should not be buying these new. If you want this GPU, I would probably consider it for $100 used. That'll get you into your budget. You could fix up some other things. You could fix that PSU and you'd be kind of good to go. So maybe that's just the easy, simple fix if we go ahead and buy one used off eBay that's still in good working condition. We could also get a 3050 for $10 less, but the RX 6600 really feels like it's calling our name here. So you went with the 10105F. You could also go with the 10100F. They're basically the same CPU. This one just clocks slightly higher. I mean, it's got limited amount of L3 cache on it. It used to be really good for budget builds, but honestly, it's not as competitive now that the prices come back up to about $80 for the CPU. And the motherboards are really hard to find right now. They're really hard to find anywhere cheap enough. They're all about $100. So by the time you add this and the board up, it doesn't usually make a lot of sense. I don't mind the board. You did know that you have to get a 500 series motherboard, either a B, an H, or a Z series motherboard, either Z490 or Z590 in order to be able to clock up that RAM. So 2 thumbs up. It's good that you know how to do that. Thankfully, we don't have to know how to do that on Intel's latest platform because they got rid of that stupid thing where they'd lock the memory speed behind, basically the higher end board. So that's gone. $82. Again, here we go with $80 for that, $80 for the motherboard. For only like $10 more, we could have had a much more modern platform. The other thing about this is because we went ATX here, and I agree with you, getting this board, it's the cheapest one out there, and the next cheapest one is like $100. This is kind of what you're locked into, but because we're going ATX, we have to buy a more expensive ATX case instead of some of the cheaper micro ATX cases, and that's costing us money too. For the RAM speed is fine, 3200 CL16, we can get away with 16 gigs, 2x8 gigabytes here, but there's cheaper kits out there than this Corsair kit for $38. We could have saved ourselves almost $10 here. And again, put that money into our CPU and our motherboard. This is one of the few actual errors that you made here. Just know that this is a Gen 4 NVMe SSD for $42. Unfortunately, your CPU and your motherboard are only Gen 3. That's right, you're only the CPU is only Gen 3. That's gonna be what's gonna control the speed. So we overspent on our drive here. We could have gotten a cheaper PCIe Gen 3 drive here. And I will say, I agree with you, 1 terabyte. You were smart enough to know that you need at least 1 terabyte of space. You probably could squeak by with 500 gigs. You'd really have to kind of manage your space. Honestly, I'd go a terabyte if I could. Case, again, we locked into that ATX size case. So this was a pretty good pickup. It's about $53 or $54 once you throw the shipping in. It's got 2 included fans. You could probably get away with no rear fan on here because we're using super low heat components and you're going to get plenty of positive airflow through there. So that's absolutely fine. I actually do like this case. PSU though is absolutely a no-go. These are terrible units. They are on the F tier. The F tier of the PSU cultist tier list. If you haven't watched our how to buy a PSU video, I'll leave a link to it down in the video description. These 80+ ratings don't mean anything. It's all about the components that go into them. So there are people out there who review these things and they go into a big spreadsheet, and that's basically how you tell, unless you're an electrical engineer, and I'm not and you're not. So go off that PSU cultist tier list right now and let's get a better unit. All told for $570, listen, we're just way over our budget. That's our biggest problem right now. It's not that we made any huge errors except for the PSU really. It's just that we're $70 over budget and we really need some help. Okay, I call this the $515 do what it takes editing and 1080p gaming PC build. Remember, y'all, there's also sales tax out there depending on where you live. So you got to add sales tax in too. But we finished down to $516.89. Call it $517 total. Now I will give you a route to definitely get under that $500 price point. I don't like it. To me, it's really going to cut what you're trying to do here. But let's focus in on the build as I have it built. I want to convince you to spend an extra 15 bucks on this. Let's start with the GPU. I went with the ASRock Radeon RX 6600 Gigabyte Eagle at Newegg. Also sells for $179 off, and right now it's at $189. But just get the cheaper one. It doesn't really matter. RX 6600 is going to absolutely smoke that GTX 1660 Super. It's got a great video encoder on it. It's the equal of NVENC for anything that you're trying to do right now. Perfectly fine for video editing at the level you want to do it at. It also comes with Starfield, the game Starfield. So if you have a gaming channel, maybe you start playing Starfield for a while and that's what you're going to do with it. And it comes for free and it's a $69 value or $70 value. So that's great. This is where you want to be. Alternatives to consider, again, used GTX 1660 Super, a used GPU, maybe even a used RX 580 for like $80 instead. Those would all get you under your price point. For the CPU, I went with a Ryzen 5 5500. Could also go i5 12400F here. Now, right now it's $99. It has been $89 for quite a while, but we just passed Prime and everything. A lot of things sell out and then they raise the price a little bit. So hopefully by the time you see this, this will be back to like 89 or even maybe $95 and we can get closer and closer to that $500 price point for you. I like this a little bit better than the i3 1200F because it's got 6 cores, 12 threads. It beats it multi-threading, whereas it basically ties in terms of gaming. So you get a little bit better multi-threading, things like video editing. Comes with an included box cooler. Overall, great CPU. I'm going to go with the board that I continue to recommend for it, which is the Asus Prime B450M-A2. It's got BIOS flashback on it, although increasingly you are not needing that for like the Ryzen 5500 basically in order to have it post. So maybe not even something you need, but it's a great little motherboard. It's got a nice little VRM heatsink on it. Has a bevy of rear connectivity. It's got 6 high-speed USB ports on it. Overall, good little motherboard. And the best part about it, only costs $79. For the RAM, we're just gonna go with the cheapest DDR4 3200 CL16 kit, 2x8 gigabyte silicon power. It's $29.97. It's got a nice little blue heat shield on it. Looks fine. We have used these in the past. They work absolutely fine. For the drive, I just got you a cheaper Gen 3 drive, $35 instead of $42. Again, just $7 here, $7 there. Our CPU right now is still only Gen 3. Just know that. Even the Ryzen 5500, only Gen 3. You don't need Gen 4. You don't need Gen 4, especially at this price point. You're just wasting money. So we want 1 terabyte with this for $34, Silicon Power A60. Okay, for the case, we definitely had to cut. Now, even with shipping, this case is about $40. It's the DIY F2W. It's the white one. I think it looks cool. It looks retro. It's got some LED lights in it. It is an absolute pain in the rear to build in. But once you build the PC, it should look pretty nice. What's the pain about it is there's no cutout at the top here for your EPS 8-pin power cable. So what you're gonna need to do is actually, you need to thread it in first and then put the motherboard down because it needs to go on the tray in behind right here. You'll figure out how to do it, trust me on this. But once you get it all in there, it's dirt cheap, it looks nice, and I think you'd be happy to show it off in your stream or in your YouTube channel. For the power supply, I'm continuing to go with the APEVA Prestige 600 watt unit for $52. This is the best budget PSU right now. Now, PC Part Picker keeps telling me it's out of stock, it's out of stock. You will have to wait a little while for it. Right now, delivery is about a little over 2 weeks out for it, but trust me, this is a C tier rated unit, far better than that F tier rated unit you were gonna get that would blow up your whole build. Yes, the cables are a little bit ketchup and mustard. At this price point, we really don't have much of an alternative if we're trying to hit $500. This is absolutely fine. It's gonna look really nice in your build, and it gives us what we need in terms of overall power. Like I said, $516.89. There you go. There's a build that'll do everything that you asked it to do. It's gonna give you high FPS, 1080p. It's gonna be very good for amateur level YouTube video editing kind of stuff. It's gonna look nice. I think it's gonna perform really, really well with that Ryzen CPU and again, that RX 6600. And the best part, again, we came as close to that $500 price point as we could. So I hope you feel like your build is boosted. There's a great new way to support the channel. We're launching channel memberships and you can be part of it. You'll get cool emojis that you can use in the video comments, early access to behind the scenes content, and exclusive live stream events for members. Click the join button below the video to check out everything and help support the channel. Thank you so much for your support, and we'll catch you on the next one.